All right, let's talk about something that is incredibly difficult, often misunderstood, but you know what? It can also be one of the most powerful, life-changing journeys a person can take. We're talking about going no contact with a narcissist.
And this really gets to the heart of it all, doesn't it? This whole journey is about ending a lie that was built piece by piece and handed to you to keep you stuck. So, to figure out how to break free, we first have to understand the cage itself.
You see, before you can even think about walking away, you have to recognize the invisible forces that are holding you there. And let's be clear, this has nothing to do with weakness. It's about a very powerful psychological phenomenon, something called the trauma bond.
This definition right here is so crucial because it reframes the whole thing as an addiction. It's not a character flaw, it's a psychological hook. You get this insane cycle of super intense highs, the love bombing, the heartfelt apologies, followed by these devastating lows. And that cycle literally tricks your brain. It makes you crave the very person who's causing the pain, just for that little moment of relief.
Do any of these sound familiar? I mean, really familiar. Finding yourself explaining away their awful behavior because of one tiny, rare moment of kindness, just clinging to that sliver of hope. Well, that's the trauma bond doing its thing. It keeps you hooked, making you believe that this intense emotional dependency is actually love or loyalty.
But then, something starts to change. No matter how perfectly that mask was put on, a performance can't go on forever. Eventually, that mask begins to slip, and you start to see the cracks in the facade.
And this is the real turning point. Honestly, it's usually a really painful and confusing time because the person you were so sure you knew starts to seem like a complete stranger. It can feel like a switch just flipped, and their true self, the one that was hiding in the shadows, is suddenly stepping into the light.
And what you start to realize is that these cracks, they're not random. They form these undeniable patterns. You realize their kindness always came with strings attached. The mistreatment slowly gets worse, going from subtle little digs to just outright disrespect. And the second you challenge them on any of it, they attack. This isn't a sign you did something wrong. It's a sign you're finally seeing the truth.
So as you start to pull away, you're going to encounter silence. But it is so important to understand that there are two very, very different kinds. There's their silence, and then there's yours. One is a weapon used for control, and the other is a shield for your own protection.
This comparison just lays it all out, crystal clear. The narcissist's silent treatment, it's a punishment. It's a childish tantrum designed to make you feel bad so they can get control back. But your no contact, that's completely different. It's a thought-out, deliberate, protective boundary. It's not about hurting them. It's about reclaiming your own life so you can finally start to heal.
And this quote from Dr. Ramani just nails it. This choice is about your safety. It's about your sanity. It's a step you have to take to stop playing a game where you were never seen, never heard, and never going to win.
Now, just because you're choosing protection doesn't mean it feels easy. In fact, that decision to go no contact, it usually unleashes a total storm of difficult emotions and, frankly, a lot of backlash from the outside world. This is the question, right? The one that can keep you up at night. You know you've made the right choice for your own well-being, but you are just flooded with guilt and grief, and maybe you even feel sorry for the person who hurt you so badly. But please understand this. Your grief is not a sign that you made the wrong decision. It's a sign of your empathy. You're not just mourning the person, you're mourning the loss of the future you hoped for. You are feeling something they are literally incapable of feeling. And that right there is a profound strength.
To really get why they react the way they do, you have to understand their deepest, darkest fear. It's actually not about losing you. It's about being seen, truly seen, for what they are underneath that big performance. Hollow, empty. So when they ramp things up, when they start attacking you, smearing your name, trying to guilt trip you back in, it is not because you failed. It's because you're the one who got close enough to see the truth. Your silence becomes a mirror they just cannot stand to look into, and their reaction is pure, unfiltered panic.
And all of this brings us to the real purpose of this entire painful journey. And it's probably not what most people think. See, the end game, it's not about them at all. It's about you.
So what are we actually trying to achieve here? If this whole journey isn't really about them, then what's the point? What is the actual goal?
Well, let's start with what it's not. It is not about trying to force an apology out of them or making them finally see the truth. Chasing that is like chasing a mirage in the desert.
It's an unwinnable game, and it's not the point.
And it is definitely not about revenge or sitting around waiting for their downfall. Justice in this situation isn't about watching them crash and burn. It's about your own restoration.
The goal is indifference, a real, genuine, quiet peace where their chaos no longer gets to control your emotional state. It's that moment you realize you can reclaim all that energy you spent on them and finally invest it back into yourself, your healing, and your future.
Ultimately, this whole journey of no contact is really a journey back to you. As you heal, you become more you, more authentic. And that authenticity becomes the ultimate repellent. It's about becoming so solid in who you are that their games and their manipulations just have no place to land.
Their entire life is a performance, and that performance needs an audience to feel real. For a long time, you were their most reliable audience member, their main source of power. So the final question is really just a choice. Are you ready to walk out of the theater?
If this resonated, you aren't alone. Subscribe to join the space where we decode them together. I'll see you in the next one.